Hey friends, I finally found a Doc Block Michelle at Home Depot, and I had been looking for a while and almost gave up hope because I've been seeing online for like a year now people finding them for $15 or $30, and I had no such luck. I get a lot of my art materials from Home Depot, so whenever I start a new project, I always scoot by the plant section and never had any luck. But finally found one. This is by Proven Winners, their Leaf Joy collection, and really excited to add this to the collection. Has a really cool dark color to the leaf. It's got that silver gray pattern around the veins with the red vein and petiole. So just a really cool plant, a little bit different than the Crystal X Magnificum over here. You can see just how dark this is compared to the green on that, and then the veining and the crystal coloration is really confined to the actual vein. It's not so widespread as on the Michelle. But one thing that I found really interesting was if you watch some of Doc Block's videos, he talks about how the Michelle variation, the veins make an X through that petiole. And then he says in the red crystal variation, these will make a T instead. And on this latest leaf, you can see that the veins actually make that T across the petiole. So I don't know if this leaf was just an anomaly or this was mislabeled as a Michelle when it was a red crystal, but we'll have to wait and see what this newest leaf is doing, and I'll keep you guys updated. So if you're still looking for these, I'd recommend keeping an eye out because this popped up in the middle of winter. Really a plant that I've had on my wish list for a while, but I wanted to get it from Home Depot just because I feel like that's kind of what's vogue right now, is the Home Depot Doc Block. Now, I didn't have much luck on the pricing front because this was full price at $95, so I don't know where people are finding them for $15 and $30, but there were 3 trays that had 6 spots in each tray. So there were 18 plants theoretically, but when I found these, there were only 9 left. So 9 of them had either been bought or they had just spread them out over a couple of different trays. But they are being bought at that full $95 price tag. So hopefully Home Depot will start getting in more rare anthuriums, because this one wasn't in the worst condition. It has a couple of holes in it and some yellowing on the leaves that I cut off the oldest leaf, but this was the nicest one I could find of the 9 that they had. But it was in pretty okay condition. It was pretty dry, but I would rather that than too wet, because typically big box stores are just going to overwater every plant that they have. So having it on the more dry side is much more ideal, especially in winter when you got low humidity and low temp and low lighting under the conditions they have inside. And even though it was pretty dry, it is in great shape. So I think for it to be in this shape, with the care that it was probably getting, or lack thereof, this had to be a really robust plant. So I really liked the vigor of the genes. And then when I pulled the nursery pot out, it actually had a big root coming out the bottom. So this is not some small root system. It is pretty established in the pot. And one thing that I really like about this ceramic pot is that the nursery pot sits up here. So water can collect down here, kind of keep some humidity in there. But the important thing is that it's keeping these leaves up off of that base floor. If you look at my Crystal Magnificum over here, I'll show you. That pot is up off of the table a good 6 inches. And then the stem is all the way up here, but the bottom of the leaf is well below that table. So when these get bigger and those leaves start to go down, they can drag on the floor or the table and just be a magnet for pests and spider mites. They'll have a field day, and it just doesn't look that great to have your leaves dragging on the floor. So kind of cool that this pot is high and keeping the plant elevated. And as far as care goes for this plant, when I took it home, I soaked the leaves front and back and then the top of the soil with a mixture of 1-to-1 water and alcohol, and then mixed in just a couple drops of Dawn dish soap in case there are any pests or anything on there. Just wanted to make sure that I don't transfer those to the rest of my plants. And then I wiped the leaves down with the cotton swab, got off any debris or pests that might have been on there. And then I watered it through with Aroid Food, which I do with all my anthuriums. And then I sprayed the leaves one more time with a kelp spray. kind of rehydrate them after hitting them with that alcohol mix. For now, I'm just gonna leave it in the soil that it came in, which I'm imagining is just straight peat moss, but I don't wanna mess with the roots right now. It's probably had a lot of shock from being transported in a cold, dark truck and then being inside in the dry in the winter. And spring is just around the corner. It's like 70 degrees out right now, 68% humidity. So this thing's just being smacked with all kinds of changes. So the last thing I want to do is uproot it and mess with those at all. So once this plant starts to get a little more used to my care and the household conditions, that's when I'll take out this peat moss and probably replace it with my normal mix, which I have great success with all my other plants using. And that's using Soul Soil's Chunky Orchid Mix mixed 1-to-1 with Fox Farm soil. And then I sprinkle in a little bit of charcoal. And that seems to keep all my plants happy. That's all I got for now, guys. I just wanted to make this video to kind of document what this plant looked like when I first picked it up, because before you know it, they turn into these massive plants, and I really just like to see where they started out. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you're not, guys. I got a lot more content coming, but I'm a really small channel, and it really helps out.